Good morning, class. Welcome to the online classes for physics of class 12th. We were going through the chapter that is magnetism and the matter. In the last class, we have seen about the hysteresis loop, right? And that too for the sample of a ferromagnetic substance. So what we have seen that the ferromagnetic substance used to be magnetized in the direction of the magnetic field, means they get strongly magnetized by the magnetic field and try to move in the direction parallel or tends to move in the direction parallel to that of the magnetic field. Okay, so what we have seen that this ferromagnetic substance, when they are kept in a space where there is no external magnetic field is applied, then they are used to be at the neutral point. As we just try to keep this in a magnetic field, that is in an external magnetic field, then what it happens that how the magnetic field will increases, the value of that ferromagnetic substance intensity of magnetization will also increase, because magnetizing intensity, that is magnetization field, is increasing, then the intensity of magnetization will also increase. That is, we are talking about B and H, and if you take it as magnetizing field B and H, if you take it as H and I, then also it is okay, because magnetizing field intensity or intensity of a magnetization. Okay, that is I and H also can be given as graph for a hysteresis loop. So we know that when it is unmagnetized or at the point where the external magnetic field is not given, that point it will be neutral, that is at 0. As the magnetic field is increased, that is B increases, and the value of H will also increase. Similarly, if you increase the value of H, then the intensity of magnetization will also increase, that is I also will increase. So what does it mean? That it will start from the point neutral, that is from the 0 point, it will start moving to the upper direction, right? And to a particular point it will reach, that afterwards it will not gain any magnetization. So there we can say that point as a saturation. So this, when it reaches to the saturation point, after that, on increasing the magnetic field or increasing the magnetizing intensity, then also there will be no change in the saturation point. That is, after that there will be no change in the sample of the ferromagnetic substance. So after that, when we just decrease the magnetic field, then H just decreases, that is the value of the H will also decrease. If you talk about I and H, then I will decrease. If you talk about B and H, if you decrease the B, then H will also decrease. Or if H is decreasing, then B can also decrease, because these three of it are just correlated to each other, that's why. Okay, so we have seen that now on decreasing H value, if you see this figure, then if it is I and H, then I will be taken in the y-axis and H will be taken in the x-axis itself. So if you decrease this H value, still it does not come to 0 point. You can see this in the curve AB, that it does not come to 0. What does it mean? That there is some magnetizing still in that sample. So it does not get totally demagnetized, otherwise it can come to 0 also, but it does not get demagnetized, that is why it is in the axis itself. So there is still some magnetism in that sample, that's why it is not coming down, right? So it is there in the point B. Now as we are on decreasing the magnetizing field, what we can say, that the magnetic induction is still there in the sample, and this residual magnetism or the magnetic field, after the removal of the magnetic field, then it is said to be the residual magnetism, and that point is said to be the retentivity. Okay, we have read that retentivity and coercivity also. So here this retentivity will be given by OB, point OB, because after that it does not came to 0, it is moving from the loop, that is B to C. So when we get that the sample does not get totally demagnetized, so to make this magnetism to 0, so what we have to do, we again have to decrease this H, but in the reverse direction, so that the B can decrease. So on decreasing this value, we have to apply some reverse magnetizing field, that too a force is applied just to make it 0. So this external magnetization, or to decrease in the magnetization, that too in the reverse direction, to make it forcefully less, that is said to be the coercive force. And the point that O2C in the figure, you can see it is the coercivity, that point is said to be coercivity. Okay, so what we can say, that when it is increased the value of H, the B is also increased, magnetizing field is also increased. Now when it comes to a point saturation, starting it get build up through the point, that is the curve, you can see from F to A. Again after getting into the A, it will be get totally magnetized. Now after the saturation point, it cannot get more magnetized, so after that it cannot increase. So on decreasing the H value of H, what it will, again magnetizing field will decrease, that is B's value will decrease, but it does not come to zero. What does it mean? That some magnetism is still there in the sample of that ferromagnetic material. So to get into zero, we are applying the external magnetic field to be get decreased, but in the reverse direction. So this external force, or just forcefully getting this magnetizing value to be zero, is said to be that of the coercive force, and then it just start decreasing. So the point where we are getting decreased but not into zero is said to be the coercivity, and that residual magnetism is there in the point AB curve. You can see that it does not get to zero, that is retentivity or the residual magnetism, and the point through which we forcefully getting the value of H to be decreased in the negative direction is said to be the coercivity. Okay, so again coming to the negative saturation point, because saturation point is on both the quadrants. So on the top it will be positive saturation, at the down it will be negative saturation. After again that point, the body cannot be decreased, or the A cannot get into more or less magnetized. So what we can say, again on increasing the value of H, so on increasing this, the value of B will also increase. So again we will get a loop which will come and converge it into the point A, that is again it will come to a saturation. So what we can say, that we are getting a curve point, right? We are getting a loop, that is a closed curve which we got by the magnetization that too of the ferromagnetic material. This loop is said to be hysteresis loop, and the phenomenon is said to be hysteresis. Okay, we have learned this in the previous class also. So now we will be talking about the types of ferromagnetic materials. We know that the ferromagnetic materials are get strongly attracted by the magnet in the direction of the magnetic field. Okay, so here we are talking about soft iron and a hard ferromagnetic substance, or a hard ferromagnets. So what this happens in both these materials, both are ferromagnetic materials, right? So in this there will be a small difference, that we know that a ferromagnetic material has some magnetization still after the removal of the magnetizing field, that is after the removal of the external magnetizing field also they have some magnetism still remained in their body, that is sample is having still magnetism, that is residual magnetism is there, that is retentivity. It will not get into the zero. By the help of the hysteresis loop also we can see. So but there will be some ferromagnetic substance which get their magnetization to be completely zero when the external magnetic field is removed, and in some there will be some residual magnetism after the removal of that external magnetic field also. So on that basis it is given as soft ferromagnetic materials and the hard ferromagnetic materials. In soft it will be soft iron, okay, and if you talk about the hard materials, then it will be alnico, steel. This all will be a hard ferromagnetic materials. So we can define this soft iron or a soft ferromagnetic material as that the ferromagnetic materials in which the magnetization will not come to zero on the removal, that it will come to zero completely, it will be demagnetized on the removal of that external magnetic field. So when the external magnetic field is removed, it will get completely demagnetized. Okay, so here you can see the loop also, that in that we have got that coercivity, saturation point, and similar here what we can see, that the coercivity and retentivity, so retentivity become less and coercivity become more. So what we can say, this loop is given as hysteresis loop for the soft one, that is the first one. It will be for soft iron. Here what you can see, that the retentivity has become, it's just thin, right? What you can say, that the retentivity is low and the coercivity is also low. So in that B diagram you can say that the coercivity is high, that is coercivity will be high and large hysteresis loss will also be there, and retentivity will be high. So in the soft iron, this figure which you can see, that the soft ferromagnetic substance, here it will be a thin figure you can see. This thin will show that the hysteresis loss is less, so they will be having a low hysteresis loss, will be having a low retentivity, because retentivity is also not for long time, see. Okay, and if you talk about coercivity, then also it is very thin, so that graph will also show that there will be small retentivity and the low coercivity also, that is low coercive force is required to make it to zero, because whenever the external magnetic field is removed, then it gets demagnetized easily, that's why. So we know that the magnetic permeability, that is the permeability we have seen mu, and if you talk about relative permeability, then it will be mu r. So the relative permeability will be high for this type of material, that is soft iron and all. For the transistors, transformers and solenoids, we use this kind of cores, that is soft iron cores used to be bended as in the form of the coils in the transformer. You will be learning in the next previous chapters, that is semiconductors, and because solenoid everything you have learned in 10th also, but here we will be talking about transistors, transformers, rectifiers. In that this coils and the primary turns and the secondary turns will come, in which we will be using the soft iron. Okay, so this is the graph for the hysteresis graph for the soft iron ferromagnetic substance, which get easily demagnetized or get completely demagnetized when the external magnetic field is removed. And this graph shows that it have the low coercivity and low retentivity, but the magnetic permeability, that is relative magnetic permeability, high. Okay, now if we talk about a hard ferromagnetic substance, this will be a hard ferromagnetic substance. This, what we can say, that here is a ferromagnetic substance which have the residual magnetism or retain the magnetization even after the external magnetic field is removed. So after the removal of the external magnetic field also, it will have some residual magnetism, that it have the retentivity in that. So we can say that there is a wide loop we are getting, like in that we are getting a thin loop, that is thinner one was there. Here the wider hysteresis loop is formed. What that means, that they have the high retentivity, high coercive power also, and the hysteresis loss will be more. Okay, the hysteresis loss will also be more, but we know that it is not getting easily magnetized, so they will be better to make, the better will be used to make the permanent magnets, right? Because they does not get easily magnetized. Demagnetized means after removal of the external magnetic field also, they are not getting demagnetized. So what we can say, that they are strong magnets, so they will be used for making a permanent magnet. Okay, so till here what we have seen, that the susceptibility, intensity of magnetization, magnetizing intensity, permeability, relative permeability, susceptibility, Curie temperature, that temperature, after that the ferromagnetic substance will come. Okay, so these were the topics which we have seen. Now just see the numerical examples. Like a magnet of magnetic moment 2.5 ampere, 2.5 ammeter meter square, weighs 66 kg, that is mass is also given here, and magnetic moment is also given because it is NIA, that is number of turns, and area along with the current. So for area it is meter square and for current it is ampere. And the density of the material is also given. Find the intensity of magnetization. Here you can see the magnetizing intensity is given as m upon v, small m upon v, where v is the volume and small m is the magnetic moment. The magnetic moment is given by 2.5 ampere meter square, and if you talk about the weight, then it is mass, that is given by 66 kg, and density is given by 7500. From there we can find out the volume, that is mass upon volume is given by density. So for finding volume, we can write it as mass upon density, that is mass value is given by 66 grams and the density is given by 7500 kg meter cube per meter cube. So the changing in grams into kg, we will be taking it 66 into 10 to the power minus 3, that is 1 kg equal to 1000 grams. From there we will be taking the value of the volume and keeping this volume value in the magnetization, that is intensity of magnetization capital M, which is equal to the ratio of the volume and the magnetic moment. So on putting this value of magnetic moment and the volume which we have taken in the first equation, so we will be getting the magnetic intensity of the magnetization. Similarly, see the next question, that obtain the Earth's magnetization. Assume that the Earth's field can be approximated by a giant bar magnet of a magnetic moment 8 into 10 to the power 22 ampere meter square. The Earth's radius is 6400 km. So from here what we can say, that Earth's magnetization we have to find, that is intensity of the magnetization. That's the Earth field can be approximated by a giant bar of magnetic moment. So magnetic moment is given, that we are just imagining that it can approximated by a bar magnet, like bar magnet, that is of intensity of magnetic moment as given as 8.0 into 10 to the power 20 ampere meter square, that is 8 into 10 to the power 22. So this is the value for small m, magnetic moment. And now it is given, we know that the intensity of the magnetization is given by capital M is equals to small m upon capital V, that is volume, magnetic moment upon volume. For volume we should get mass upon density for formula, or for any shape we can find out the volume. So your Earth's field is, so Earth is in the shape of the sphere. So what is the volume of the sphere? Is 4 by 3 pi r cube. Since the radius of the circle, that is sphere of the Earth, is also given, that is 6400 kilometer. So changing it into meter, what we will get? 6.4 into 10 to the power 6 meter. Because this volume and the magnetic moment both are in the meter, that's why. So volume, it will be 4 by 3 pi r cube. On putting the value of r as 6400, that is 6.4 into 10 to the power 6 meter. Magnetic moment as 8.0 into 10 to the power 22 into 3. So from there we will be getting the value for the intensity of the magnetization, which will be given by ampere per meter. Okay, because for magnetic moment it is ampere meter square, and for volume it is meter cube, so it is ampere per meter if you're talking about intensity of magnetization, capital M. Now see the next question, that is a domain in a ferromagnetic iron is in the form of a cube of side length 1 micrometer. So on changing it into meter, we will be multiplying it by 10 to the power minus 6, because micro level is always multiplied by 10 to the power minus 6, and milli range it will be changed by multiplying it by 10 to the power minus 3. So we have to find a number of iron atoms in the domain. We have to find out number of iron atoms. And when you talk about atom, the number of atoms are always given by the Avogadro number. And the maximum possible dipole moment, that is m upon v. Again we have to see value of m. Dipole also we have to find, that is magnetic moment. And the molecular mass of iron and its density is also given. So we will be taking out the value, that is length is given. From there we can find out the volume, because it is in the form of a length of a cube. So it is in the form of a cube. So we can find the volume by a cube, that is side cube. So I'm putting the value of L as 10 to the power minus 6 meter. So we'll be putting this value and we can get the volume. And by taking mass upon volume, we can find out the magnetization of that domain also. So value of m, how can we take it out? Because m is given by dipole moment, right? Dipole moment can be find out with the help of the number of turns also. Here what we first thing, we have to find a number of iron atoms in the domain. So to find out the number of the iron atoms, we know that it is given as 55 grams per mole. In the question it is given 55 grams per mole. That means in 1 mole is like 55 grams, right? And we know that number of atoms in 1 mole are given by the Avogadro number 6.022 or into 10 to the power 23. So using that we can say that 55 grams are for 6.022 atoms will be there. And for mass we know that volume into density is given, right? Because density is already given 7.9 gram per centimeter cube, and the volume we have taken it out, that is L cube by the side cube of the cube. And from there we got the mass, we got the number of atoms also. So number of atoms that in the 7.9, that is mass of that domain is given. So in this mass of domain, how much number of atoms can be there? So I'm dividing it by 55, because we know that 55 grams is having 6.022 into 10 to the power 23. So for 1 gram it will be 6.022 into 10 to the power 23 upon 55. And on multiplying it by number of atoms in that particular gram, that is 7.9 into 10 to the power minus 12 mass of domain. So we get that the number of atoms will be 8.65 into 10 to the power 10 atoms. And for dipole moment we know that small m, right? Small m is given. So each iron atom will have the dipole moment as 9.27 into 10 to the power 24 ampere meter square. That is given, each iron atom has a dipole moment of, that is given in the question. From there we have written as dipole moment small m is equals to. After that we have to find out the value of magnetization, that is small m upon v, that is magnetic moment upon v. Volume, we have already taken out the volume 10 to the power minus 12. And after that we have to take out the, sorry, it is 10 to the power minus 18 if we take it as meter, and if we take it as centimeter then it will be 10 to the power minus 12. So in the magnetization we will be taking it as meter itself, because the value of magnetization is given by 8.0 into 10 to the power 13 ampere per meter square. So for meter square we have to take the value of volume as also in a meter. So it will 10 to the power minus 18 meter. So on putting this value we got 8.0 into 10 to the power 5 ampere per meter. So this is what the value for the magnetization. We're seeing more numericals in the next classes also. After this you can say permanent magnets and the electromagnets. What the permanent magnets are, that is they cannot demagnetize after removal of the external magnetic field also. Okay, so we'll be seeing that the soft iron, we know about the soft iron, that is a permanent magnet also we can say, because in this what we have seen that the soft iron can be get easily demagnetized, so they cannot be used for making a permanent magnet. Okay, so they will be not used for the permanent magnet. Now for the permanent magnet, like you have seen in the last example that it can be steel, alnico, lodestone, so they will be used for the permanent magnet also. So what we know that the magnetic properties of the steel and the soft iron, that is a hard ferromagnetic material, soft ferromagnetic material, here you can see that coercivity was more for the hard magnetic material and less for that of the, that is soft magnetic material, soft iron. Retentivity was also low, and for the hard material it was high. Only hysteresis loop was loss, there was a high loss for the soft iron and low loss for that of the hard ferromagnetic material. And if we talk about permeability, that also it is greater than for the soft iron material than that of the steel. Coercivity is also less, so that small differences are there between this. But if we talk about the magnetic materials, that is permanent magnet and the electromagnets, we know that the magnetic materials will be taken as by their hysteresis loop itself. They will be selected by their hysteresis loop itself, that how they are gaining or having the residual magnetism. So for permanent magnetism, there should be a high retentivity, high coercivity and high permeability should be there, because so that they can produce a high magnetic field. If they are having high retentivity, then they have residual magnetism more, so they can prepare a more strong magnetic field. If you're talking about coercivity, then its magnetization is not destroyed, right? Because coercivity is not there, then it cannot be destroyed. And high permeability, if you talk, then the soft iron steel is favored for making the permanent magnet, we know, but steel has much high coercivity than that of the soft iron. But we know that the magnetization of steel cannot be easily destroyed, so it is, as it is magnetized, then it will be retained for a long period, right? So it will be used for making the soft irons, that is permanent magnet. It is given as, here you can see, alnico, steel, this are used for that of the permanent magnet. Okay, so for if we talk about electromagnets, then the value of the retentivity should be less, that the magnetization lost of that magnetized, because it get demagnetized, right? Low retentivity means it will get easily demagnetized or get demagnetized fast. So for that, the low retentivity should be there. So here the electromagnet, soft iron will be more used, and that the steel will be used because it has more retentivity than that of the soft iron. Here, which will use, instead of that steel, it will be using soft iron more. And if we talk about transformer course, which we have seen that the number of the turns will be there for the transformer, here we can say that the retentivity should be low, and the hysteresis loss should also be low, and the permeability should be high, so that the materials that are subject to the magnetizing field should have high frequency and should not be get lost easily. So for this, the value of soft iron will be more better to make this transformer cores. Okay, soft iron is used for transformer cores. Okay, so this is what the permanent magnet and the electromagnets. In the next class, we will be seeing about a tangent and the vibrational galvanometer. Its practicals are also there for you. It is not there in the term 1 and term 2 portion. So we will be seeing just what the working and how the construction is done for this vibration and the tangent galvanometers. Okay, so thank you class. In the next class, we will be seeing further topics.